Suprabhat to our very distinguished panelists and participants joining us from across. Hope you all are safe and at peace while working at and from home. I, Christy Saikia, on behalf of the Assam Royal Global University Guwahati, take the privilege to welcome our distinguished speakers and the participants. It is our honor to have with us today Honorable Justice Sri N. Kotiswar Singh, Judge, Gauhati High Court. Honorable Sir is the senior most judge of Gauhati High Court after Chief Justice of Gauhati High Court. We also express pleasure to have with us Mr. Vijay Hansaria, Sir, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India, and also a member of National Legal Service Authority. And of course, pleasure to have Ms. Sneha Kalita, Advocate on Record of Supreme Court of India. She is also the Standing Counsel of Gauhati and Manipur High Court before Supreme Court of India. Our Chief Patron, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. Sanjay Pratap Singh, Royal Global University, Gauhati. Patrons, Professor A.K. Buragohai, Chairperson Academics, Royal Global University. Professor Dr. Pradeep Jyoti Mohanto, Dean of Royal School of Humanities and Social Sciences, Royal Global University. All the senior professors of the university. I welcome all the distinguished guests and my dear friends who are present today. Respected Sir, Ma'am, please allow me to introduce you to the Royal Global University, Gauhati. Royal Global University, Gauhati, Assam is a leading university of Northeast India, committed to provide unparalleled education to render holistic development of the students. It caters to 27 schools, offering 130 plus courses. Nestled in the prime location of Gauhati, the campus is well accessible. RGU is spread over a picturesque of 227 acres of land with about 12 lakh square feet built up area. The campus is secured, well maintained, and facilitated with the state of the art amenities, including conducive classrooms, conference rooms, auditoriums, studios, wood courts, 85 plus high tech labs, libraries, and infirmaries. One of the strongest pillars of RGU is its highly qualified and well experienced intellectual capital, that is 250 plus faculties, who also serve as the motivation catalyst for 5,000 plus students. RGU strives for academic excellence through research intensive and industry oriented education instilled with a strong sense of becoming a global citizen. Soon after the nationwide lockdown was announced, the university went on to completion of the course curriculum through online exercises, after which we are organizing online orations by distinguished scholars and experts with different domains from various parts of the world to sustain and nurture the academic culture of the university. One such attempt is the webinar today, which is organized on responsible use of the online platform, the legal perspectives. With the high influx in accessing internet, especially during this pandemic, shifting us to the online platforms, it is apparent that it has been serving humans, but it should thus come with its own share of complex reality of being a bane in the life of the people. Year after year, even with experts trying their best to make the internet and the social platforms safe and hassle-free for all, the online nuisance continues to increase drastically. While providing seamless internet services equally to all, there is also the urgent need to educate, guide, aware, and train people to not only put forward and maintain an ethical, harmless internet environment, but to also acquire and have adequate and necessary knowledge and consciousness to save themselves from the various possible cyber threats lurking around. With intent to facilitate the process, we should all head towards the speakers today. To begin the webinar today, I would like to request our Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dr. S.P. Singh, to give the introductory remarks. So please allow me to introduce you. Professor Dr. S.P. Singh has been associated with the Royal Group from its inception in 2009 as the founder director of the institution. He has also served as the founder vice chancellor of Amity University, Chhattisgarh, for almost 2 years before joining the Assam Royal Global University in November 2016 as the founder vice chancellor. With the vision and hard work of Professor Singh, the university has been ranked the #1 private university of Assam by Education World within a span of just 3 years. While serving his second tenure as Vice Chancellor of Royal Global University, Professor Singh has completed almost 20 years of headship of well-known academic institutions of the country. A geologist, MBA, and a law graduate with PhD in strategic management, Professor Singh is also an ardent baseball player and has been actively involved in various social and cultural activities since his university days. Sir, handing over to you.
Thank you so much, Christy. It was really a very elaborated, long introduction in front of Honorable Justice and Kotiswar Singh and Vijay, Hansaria ji and Sneha ji. It was really a little, I was thinking that it is too long, but then thank you so much, Christy. I'm very, very delighted and honored today to welcome my three very eminent speakers for today's webinar. And most important, Justice N. Koteshwar Singh Saab, we were hearing about you for a long, long time. This pandemic has given us a chance, as you have said, to meet you virtually. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult to meet a sitting judge. All thinking about interacting with him for 1.5 hours, it's unimaginable. So this is really a great opportunity for me and for all academic fraternity of Royal Global University, MIT University, and other university students who are participating in today's webinar. So, sir, we are very, very grateful to you and thankful that you have spare time, and that shows your, heart for law education, intent to, to connect with the children, to connect with the society. And in my opinion, though the legal framework is such that you are being secluded from all of us in a very, very different manner, but this particular webinar and this kind of situation will give us more insight about a sitting judge who's the senior most judge other than the Chief Justice, to hear about him, what all last 10 years while working in Manipur for 5 years, earlier in Gauhati High Court for 1 year or 2 years, and then again to the Gauhati High Court and brief practice in Supreme Court of India, then practicing for a long time in Gauhati High Court. So this all, your experience will definitely be very handy and will probably will motivate many of us, maybe to each and every student and fraternity here, to hear from you. So this is one. And especially Vijay, Hansaria ji, I'm very, very delighted to welcome you also and to find you amongst us today in this webinar, because Supreme Court I have seen always from outside. In Campus Law Center, Delhi University for 2 years, 1989 to 1991. So that was, and then Supreme Court used to be always one thing that after completing your CLC, where you will go Supreme Court. And many of my friends are there working in your Supreme Court of India on 1989-90 batch students of CLC. And many of the friends have become Honorable Justice in Lucknow High Court and other Allahabad High Court. I'm from Lucknow. So I mean, I'm very, very fond of this profession. Though, fortunately, I would say not unfortunate. I'm very fortunate that I got into the profession of teaching. I'm very happy here. I'm very satisfied. I love this profession. But if somebody give me a chance for a second profession, the second profession will be a profession of a lawyer, because that was there in my mind from a very, very long time. So this is my intent of, starting this law school in Royal Global University Social Work Department, and all those things are very close to my heart. Yesterday, this new national education policy has been, approved by the cabinet of Government of India. And one part of that particular, I was reading it yesterday night. I nearly have completed the reading. One part is very, very specific about it, that 64 kalas, what Banu Bhatt has said in his book, the 64 kalas should be the outcome of the education. I probably have thought about it, and I have requested my different fellow friends and people in higher ups in Government of India that 60 skalas we will be able to inculcate in our children only when the teachers or vice chancellors are having those 60 kalas, 64 kalas. So first and foremost requirement is that we should be grooming ourselves to have those 64 kalas. And I think what we are doing in this web platforms and webinars, if we are trying to learn as many kalas, we can do that, and probably will become more prudent and better teacher to teach to the students in the class. This pandemic time, this webinar time, this tsunami of webinars, people say we have organized 300 webinars. People say whatever, but I think it is a pure Ganges water flowing across you. It is you who can take a dip into it, drink it, or you can leave it and keep sitting on the side of the Ganges. So this is all the state of mind. I'm a very positive person. I always believe that learning should be lifelong. And I'm right now completing my LLM from one of the distance education mode, because every 10 years I do something new. So my new 10-year agenda was in 2019. I was expected to complete my LLM, but I could not. This year I will be able to complete my LLM also. But that is what I mean. I read a lot and about law. This cyber crime is a very, very important topic. Earlier, we have requested two of the police officers of Government of Assam, Mr. Harmeet Singh and Mr. L.R. Bishnoi, to speak something similar with respect to FIR, with respect to how to go about it, what is the cyber cell of Assam is doing, what is the cyber cell of India, and whatever is happening around. And we have found many things good, and we found many lacunas. One of the very important point what I found, even if I actually personally have lodged a complaint to Gurchuk PS about some kind of things which was cybercrime. Somebody has created a email similar to my email and similar to my emails, and try to cheat people. So, but then the issue is that getting the right kind of IP address and other details from Google or from Twitter or from WhatsApp, and wherever they are situated in America and other places of the world, it is really a very cumbersome process. I think what I feel today is that to make it more vibrant and maybe more important is that IT Act should incorporate something with respect to international law, where it becomes easy and it should be time bound somehow to get the information about the people who have committed crime, because by the time information come from there and the culprit has already changed their IDs and so many things happen, and then it becomes very, very difficult for policing to find out who is the right culprit. And probably today's webinar is basically, I think, section 66A, if I recall, in the IT Act, which was been Supreme Court has taken decision on that with respect to right to speech or freedom of speech, and about 154A about different kinds of IPC 154A, IPC 354 C, and all those are very, very important. I think things which we need to discuss today. And I'm so sorry I've taken 1 or 2 extra minutes, Srishti, than required. But I just wanted to speak my heart out about this topic. So I'm really very eager to hear from all of you. I hope I will be enriched and all my participants will learn so many things today. Thank you so much, Srishti. Over to you.
Right, sir. It's all right, sir. Fine, sir. We'll go ahead. Before heading on to the speakers' deliberation, may I request all our participants to kindly mute their audio and turn off the video. Each of the speakers' deliberation will be of 20 minutes, followed by a Q&A session at the end. Now we have our first distinguished speaker, Honorable Justice Mr. N. Kotiswar Singh, Judge, Gauhati High Court. So please allow me to introduce you. Honorable Sir has assumed charge as a judge, Gauhati High Court, on 11th October 2018, and presently he is the senior most judge of Gauhati High Court after Chief Justice of Gauhati High Court. Enrolled as an advocate in 1986 and designated as a senior advocate by the Gauhati High Court on 31st March 2008. Honorable Sir is also Executive Chairman of the Assam State Legal Services Authority and Central Authority member of National Legal Services Authority. After a brief practice in the Supreme Court of India, Honorable Sir shifted practice under the Gauhati High Court and then Common High Court of Assam, Nagaland, Meghalaya, Manipur, Tripura, Mizoram, and Arunachal Pradesh. Also practiced in the Central Administrative Tribunal, Gauhati, and the subordinate courts and various tribunals in Manipur. Honorable Sir was the standing counsel for various government departments, Government of Manipur, and various public undertakings, institutions like Renewable Energy Development Agency, Manipur Board of Secondary Education, Regional Institute of Medical Sciences, National Insurance Company Limited, Allahabad Bank, Housing and Urban Development Corporation Limited, DOEACC Center, Imphal. Honorable Sir is designated as the senior advocate by the Gauhati High Court on 31st March 2008. Also served as the Advocate General of the State of Manipur from 3rd November 2007 till elevation to the bench. Honorable Sir, sworn in as an additional judge of the Gauhati High Court on 17th October 2011 and as a judge of the Gauhati High Court on 7th November 2012. Appointed as a judge of the Manipur High Court upon its creation with effect from 23rd March 2013. Appointed to perform the duties of the office of Chief Justice of the High Court of Manipur with effect from 1st July 2017 till 8 February 2018. again from 23rd February 2018 till 17th May 2018. Honorable Sir participated in the World Congress on Justice for Children from 28th to 30th May 2018 at UNESCO Paris. Was part of the 8 High Court Justices team to attend workshop on counterterrorism phase 2 training at Washington DC and Orange County, California from 10 to 14 September 2018. On transfer to Gauhati High Court, assumed charge as a judge, Gauhati High Court on 11th October 2018. Presently Executive Chairman of the Assam State Legal Services Authority and Central Authority member of National Legal Services Authority. Honorable Justice Mr. Kotiswar Singh will give an insight on the Information Technology Act 2000. Sir, the mic, Honorable Sir, the mic and the screen are yours.
Thank you, and very good morning to all present here today virtually. Professor S.P. Singh, Vice Chancellor of Assam Royal Global University, Mr. Vijay Hansaria, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India, Professor Alak K. Buragohai, Chairperson Academic of the University, Professor Pradeep Jyoti Mohanto, Dean, Royal School of Humanities and the Social Sciences, Ms. Sneha Kalita, Advocate on Record, Supreme Court of India, other distinguished participants, faculty members, and my dear students. It gives me immense pleasure to address this gathering through this webinar, which has been specially organized for the students on a very important contemporary ultra-modern phenomenon. Till very recently, for the last so many centuries, humankind had been living in two worlds: the external material physical world and the inner psychological world. This duality has been changed forever with the invention of computer and internet. Now, added is another reality, a virtual world in which humankind is slowly and irreversibly sucked into. Today, we are surrounded by the cyber world. It has become an integral part of our lives. Today, there are about 450 million smartphones used compared to 550 million feature phones in India. In addition, there are about 450 billion internet users, making it the second largest internet population in the world. Because of affordability, these are increasing by the day. The power of computer has also grown manifold in the last few years. The smartphone, which is also kind of computer, which most of us are carrying and using, is millions times more powerful than the computer which powered the Apollo 11's moon landing 50 years ago. Cyber technology is indeed a liberating force. Through it, one can transcend geographical barriers. Its outreach is unimaginable. It has also a great democratizing power. It enables anyone to get his voice heard across the world instantly. The freedom it has given is unparalleled in the history of human civilization. Yet, with the freedom it has unleashed, it has the potential of endangering our liberty, freedom, and individuality, and most importantly, privacy. It has the capacity to intrude into our innermost personal areas, which we consider sacrosanct, and jealously guard to make it the most inaccessible to the strangers and the outside world. The observation of the Honorable Supreme Court regarding electronic media in the case of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India versus Cricket Association of Bengal in 1995, that the virtues of the electronic media cannot become its enemies, is equally true of the cyber technology today. While we reap the benefit of the advantages of computer and internet, we have been also simultaneously exposed to the more insidious forms of crimes, what we call cyber crimes, which is more difficult to avert and avoid. But what is cybercrime? It is a criminal activity using the computer either as a target or as a tool or both. Thus, generally, cybercrime can be categorized into broad categories. First, the crime in which the computer is the primary target. bio hacking and infecting with virus, malware, and others to disable the use of computer. The other kind of cybercrime is the use of computer as a tool and perpetrate other crimes like financial frauds, pornography, defamation, and other such offenses. Unfortunately, many of the victims are unsuspecting young children falling prey to this unwarranted and undesirable intrusion in their private lives, shattering the lives of many. It is quite apparent that our society is getting more organized and developed and interconnected with the world economy. Cyber technology has made the world more smaller and more integrated in a manner never imagined before. Correspondingly, the cyber crimes have also increased drastically. Hence, there has to be a concerted effort to meet the challenges, or else unchecked cybercrime and misuse could prove to be very expensive on individual freedom and dignity and spell doom for the rule of law and ultimately tear the very fabric of the democratic polity. In fact, it is through cyber technology that most of the authoritarian regimes all over the world today are seeking to control their citizens. The traditional understanding of crime is that it occurs in a specific time in specific space, and the perpetrator and victims are usually identified through crime trails and evidences. The perpetrator of the crime or the accomplice must be or must have been in the scene of crime, without which the crime cannot take place. But in the cyber world, the perpetrator need not be physically present at the crime scene at all. He may remain anonymous in some unknown location. Moreover, the modality of the execution of the crime is shrouded in secrecy. The criminal operates from unknown places, maintaining anonymity. And who knows, the perpetrator may be just sitting in your next door. Thus, it is extremely difficult to identify the cyber criminal, posing serious initial hurdle to investigation. In a cybercrime, anonymity is the greatest strength of the criminal, giving him a sense of invincibility. Swiftness of execution of the crime is his greatest advantage. It thus poses a big challenge to the law enforcing agencies and to the society at large. Cybercrime, as opposed to traditional crime, can be relatively more and affect more number of victims, cutting across national boundaries and not merely confined to any specific geographical area. Most of the crimes in traditional sense are preventable by taking necessary precautions or denying access to the perpetrator of the crime to the victim. For example, one can build walls, install CCTV cameras to prevent burglary. But these precautionary measures may not be of any use in respect of cyber crimes. As per National Crime Records Bureau 2017 report, fraudulent financial transactions and sexual exploitations were the most reported cyber crimes in India. And amongst the northeastern states, Assam recorded the highest number of cyber crimes with 1,120 reported cases in 2017, most of which related to sexual exploitation and personal revenge. Though the percentage in respect different kinds of cybercrime may vary from state to state, yet financial fraud and sexual harassment appear to be the predominant cybercrimes occurring in this country. According to the latest edition of the Microsoft's Security Endpoint Threat Report 2020, India experienced a higher encounter rate of malware and ransomware attacks than the regional average in the entire Asia Pacific area this last year. These attacks involve downloading of malicious code onto the unsuspecting user's computer when they visit a website or fill up a form. The malicious code is then downloaded, then used by the attacker to steal passwords and financial information. Only yesterday, there was a news report that through fake oximeter apps to measure the level of oxygen in the body, the mobile users were tricked into giving their thumb and finger impressions, which were used to defraud by hacking into the bank accounts which are Aadhaar linked. Because in Aadhaar, we always give our thumb impressions. Now, what we have seen is that while a number of cases are reported, a large number of cases often go unreported due to variety of reasons. What could be lack of awareness among individuals and law enforcers, fear of unwanted publicity, social stigma. These are very important issues which needs to be focused and discussed. Of course, we have a national law governing the cyber transaction in our country. We all are acquainted with that information 2000, which underwent several amendments in the year 2009. However, it may be noted that this act was brought actually to ease the e-transactions and facilitate a secure e-governance environment for the trade and commerce by providing legal recognition of transactions carried out by means of electronic and other means of electronic communication which were earlier transacted through paper-based methods, and also to make necessary amendments in other statutes like IPC, Evidence Act, Bankers, etc. These are all based on the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law. Cyber crimes continue to be dealt with under the various provisions of IPC, read with the IT Act. Of course, reference may be made also to other statutes like Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012, POCSO Act, Indecent Representation of Women Prohibition Act 1986, as well as Sexual Harassment of Women in Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act. As regards reporting of cyber crimes, there is no specific designated statutory forum as such. However, one can file a complaint before a cybercrime cell, which are normally present in every police station. In this regard, one may also notice that the Ministry of Home Affairs has created a national cybercrime reporting portal, cybercrime.gov.in, where one can file such complaints. I request all the students to visit this website. It gives a very, very valuable information as to how a cybercrime has to be reported and the various questions which arises in the minds of people who are affected by this crime. Before the invention of these social online cyber platforms, personal views and expressions could not reach to a larger audience for the simple reason that in order to disseminate such views, one had to rely on print media, which had limited reach, and the editor of such print media may not even allow dissemination if considered to be objectionable. But in these social media, the individual user is the author and the editor, all rolled into one. And the regulatory regime of these online cyber platforms is very limited so far, thus allowing dissemination of sometimes very offensive and pernicious messages with ease. Because of lack of strict regulation, fake accounts could be easily opened, as also just mentioned by the Vice Chancellor also, masquerading others to spread hateful messages and also take advantage also. These are happening because of the fact that most of these platforms, the owners, regulators of this platform are also beyond the jurisdiction of this country. These are issues which needs to be addressed. Apart from the tremendous enhancement of capability of computer, because of the improvement in internet connectivity, the boundaries of cyber world has increased exponentially. Thus, the reach and impact of the computer has also increased. Privacy remains one of the main concerns in cyber law because of the enormous stakes it has in our lives and also due to heavy dependence on cyber world in our day-to-day activities. And it is also the most vulnerable part of an individual in the cyber world because of the typical characteristics of cyber technology, which I just mentioned above. That is anonymity, instantaneity, ease, accessibility, affordability of the means, and such other features we have just discussed. We all know of the celebrated case of Shreya Singhal versus University of India decided in 2015, by which the Section 66A was held to be unconstitutional. The Supreme Court, however, upheld the power of interception under Section 69A of the Act, as also 79 relating to intermediary liability, however subject to any court's order of the government. The judgment also restated the principle that any provision of law concerning the real as well as virtual world must be in conformity with the Indian Constitution. It is a landmark case for the reason that the potential and dangers of cyber technology have been extensively discussed as argued from both the sides at the bar, especially with reference to the freedom of speech and expression guaranteed under Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution, which forms the very core activity in the cyber world. I think the students should minutely study these arguments advanced on both sides to understand properly the implications of the freedom of speech and expression in the cyber world. Another landmark judgment, of course, everyone knows, privacy judgment justice case Kotiswar decided in 2017, wherein the Supreme Court has recognized the right to privacy as a fundamental right under Article 21 of the Constitution by holding that informational privacy is a facet of the right to privacy and information about a person, and the right to access that information need to be given the protection of privacy. The field of law on privacy is still evolving all over the world. In a very recent decision of the Court of Justice of the European Union, it struck down the US-EU Privacy Shield on the ground that US law did not afford a level of protection that is compatible with the protection required under the Europe's General Data Protection Regulation. The court also did not approve the requirement of the data being subjected to US National Security Agency and FBI and such other surveillance programs permitted in the US. This decision has a very huge implication for India as well, as the e-commerce with India with EU and other countries is growing at a very fast pace. India has also not yet enacted specific legislation on data protection, which is the need of the hour. India is not yet a party to any convention on protection of personal data, which is equivalent to GDPR. Only certain protections are provided under Section 43A and Section 72A of the IT Act, which gives a right to compensation for improper disclosure of personal information. Much requires to be done. Of course, presently a joint parliamentary committee is considering a bill known as the Personal Data Protection Bill 2019. Hopefully it is translated into an act very soon. The main theme of today's discussion is how to act responsibly in online cyber platforms. As in any crime, the cyber crime also involves perpetrator, the victim, and of course the means. In a cyber crime, the medium is the computer system and internet. Thus, most of the cyber crime can be prevented if we ourselves refuse to be perpetrators in any manner and act responsibly. But how do we do that? The first and foremost is to know one's rights and responsibilities, which will make us understand others' rights and responsibilities. For this, it is important to fully understand the fundamental rights and duties as enshrined under the Constitution. Equally important is to understand the various statutory provisions defining offenses as mentioned. The fundamental and statutory rights of others and offenses punishable under various statutes must be properly understood to avoid being on the wrong side of law. Having understood these rights and duties and liabilities, one must use these online platforms. Then one must post only what is necessary. Obviously, that is one of the how do you do it. One should not post just because he thinks he wants to express certain things. Only those what are necessary. And of course, only those which are truthful, so that as to avoid misleading others. We see in the WhatsApp today, so many advisories are being sent, so and so this, so and so the, how you can treat yourself at home. These are all unverified. We must be careful what is being sent across these platforms. Of course, one must also not post messages offensive to the feelings of anyone as prohibited in various laws, as just discussed. And what is of prime importance in cyber world is that privacy of individual must be respected by not unduly intruding into the same by sending unsolicited messages. And of course, by not hacking or by opening fake accounts in their names. I would like to mention a few responsible behavior. I would call it cyber etiquette. So apart from these practices which I mentioned above, avoid addiction to social media, which not only harms one's personality, but also health and happiness and can ruin the family and interpersonal relationship. The ill effects of the addiction of cyber, this online platform has been already widely studied and shared, which leads to anxiety, insomnia, aloofness, unsocial behavior, pessimism to the extent of developing suicidal tendencies. One must therefore cultivate the habit of using online platforms only at specific time and for a limited period, and turn off this notification and cultivate outer and offline activities more. Similarly, we can avoid cybercrime by being watchful and alert to the use of computer and internet, and by taking care of our own computer system, and of course by spreading awareness of the potential misuse of the cyber technology. We should also not hesitate to bring to the notice of the authorities of any cybercrime committed against any other person, not only to myself. That's why in that context, I mentioned this portal created by the Home Ministry where you can file a complaint without disclosing your identity. There are two ways of filing complaint, anonymous and by giving. Therefore, if once it is permissible to file anonymous complaint, so at least your hesitation should not be there any longer. So if you see cybercrime being perpetrated elsewhere, immediately go to this portal and lodge a complaint. And of course, we must ensure that we do not use unlicensed or pirated software and do not visit sites which illegitimately offer free softwares or contents like free video streaming to avoid malware encounters, as these will open the doors and windows of opportunities to the cyber criminals. We must be able to identify unsafe websites and illegitimate software and avoid using these. Since the means of committing the cybercrime is through the computer and internet over which we also have a control, it is of utmost importance that this means is properly safeguarded by taking all precautionary measures, by installing proper antivirus or anti-malware applications. There's so many advices. Perhaps you'll get it also, and perhaps will be explained by other speakers. But foremost is that we must have a basic understanding of all the rights and duties, the cyber law, and basic technical knowledge of the use of computer and internet. These are also very important. These are a few ideas which I thought I would share with the students more particularly, since the time is short. Other speakers also with their own knowledge to be shared. I would conclude my speech here, and I'm sure this webinar will certainly contribute to better knowledge and understanding of law and the precautions we have to take to prevent cyber crimes and make best use of one of the wonders of the modern world, that is computer and internet. Thank you very much for your hearing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Sir. It is indeed a pleasure to hear from you, and it was so easily you have made took us through the journey of understanding the Information Technology Act 2000, and also the most important point was when you elaborated on the cyber etiquettes. This will definitely enlighten participants, especially the students. Thank you, sir. We have with us next Mr. Vijay Hansaria, sir, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court of India and is a known constitutional expert. He is a member of National Legal Services Authority, NALSA. Mr. Hansaria started his career as lawyer in 1980 in the Supreme Court and became advocate on record in the year 1985. In the year 2002, Mr. Hansaria was designated as senior advocate, and he was the first senior advocate to be designated by the Supreme Court of India from the northeastern states. Mr. Hansaria was elected as vice president in the Supreme Court Bar Association in 2004. In recognition of his experience and contributions, Mr. Hansaria was appointed as member of National Legal Services Authority in the year 2013 to 2015. And during his tenure, he was part of the committee constituted for preparing the training manual for legal aid lawyers by NALSA. Again, in the year 2019, he has been appointed as member of NALSA. He has authored book, namely The Chronicles of Indian Constitution, Writ Jurisdiction, and Sixth Schedule to the Constitution. He has edited working manual on Juvenile Justice Act, which was a joint venture project of UNICEF and Legal Assistance Forum, an association of lawyers and academicians, of which he is the founder president. He has also been appointed by the Supreme Court in large number of matters as amicus curiae, some of which are Machal Lalong relating to detention of mentally disabled prisoners in jail, Malik Mazhar Sultan pertaining to monitoring and filling up of vacancies and building of infrastructure in subordinate judiciary across the country, Ashwini Kumar Upadhyaya for expeditious trial of criminal cases against MPs and MLAs and their permanent disqualification upon conviction. Respected Sir will put forward his deliberations on do's and don'ts of online platform and covering up the challenges of the Information Technology Act 2000 with special reference to the judicial pronouncing. Sir, the mic and the screen are yours.
Thank you very much, Christy. Good morning, everybody. Honorable Justice Kotiswar Singh, Judge Gauhati High Court, Dr. Sanjay Pratap Singh, Vice Chancellor, Assam Royal Global University, Professor Buragohai, Professor Mohanto, my colleagues Sneha, Kalita, professors and teachers of Royal Global University and other institutions, and my dear students. It's really give me a pleasure when I'm connected to Assam. I come from Assam, so I really feel at home when I join, whether, of course, started joining now virtually, but physically I feel completely at home when I'm in Assam. And I must thank first Dr. Sanjay Pratap Singh for establishing a world-class educational institution in Assam. It will go a long way in uplifting the people of Assam, and I must thank you for that. And Justice Kotiswar Singh has said the judges don't speak, normally lawyers speak. But when the judges speaks, we hardly remain anything to be spoken. So Justice Kotiswar Singh has covered the entire sphere, entire argument which I was supposed to make. So hardly remains anything to be joined. Anyway, I have to say something. So first of all, online platforms is a really ocean of knowledge, vast, unimaginable. In our times, we used to go to libraries, spend hours to get a particular article, particular subject. Now just click and then it's before you. And it is so many varieties are available with you. So it's such an ocean. And you go deep into it, you really find really material. But it's not only an ocean of knowledge, it brings your near and dear ones close to you. As we can sitting here, I can meet Justice Kotiswar Singh, I can meet Dr. Sanjay Pratap Singh, I can meet other faculty members sitting here, which was unimaginable till recently. These are useful platforms, and especially in the pandemic situation where we are all confined to our homes, this is the way where the world has taken to us to go. And especially so far as lawyers are concerned, the courts are all closed, most of the places, and we are doing only virtual hearing. It's an advantage that we can do virtual hearing sitting in Delhi in 5 different high courts. Recently, Mr. Salve sitting in London did cases in Rajasthan High Court in that anti-defections matter. So it's a convenient mode of doing it. But then as Justice Kotiswar Singh said, everything good comes with a difficult things which you must take care of it. Anything positive has always some negative impacts or which you have to take care. Let's see. What can you take care and to what extent to take care? It depends on you. We have laws. We have various laws in all fields. We have laws relating to offenses against women. We made very stringent laws against rape, but unfortunately things are happening. We have stringent laws against murder. Still, they are happening. So laws alone does not create. So a society, and a society where especially young students are there, these educational institutions are there, they have to think the social change, then only the law itself can make changes. So let us see what are some of the provisions of Information Technology Act which covers today the digital world or the online platform use that is basically the regulatory mechanism. And as Justice Kotiswar Singh has said, the act was brought basically to ease the paper transactions or the paper contract into the digital world. And it was on the basis of a United Nations resolution on electronic commerce. So it was not meant for a cyber crime related sort of thing, though some provisions have been made there. What are those provisions? For example, we always tend to see some other's phone. Smartphones are good as computers and then come under the Information Technology Act. We always peep in. Let us see what is there. Let us see a photograph. Let us see something. These are not permissible. Now, under the Information Technology Act itself, Section 43 bars this. Now, it bars access to another phone's computer, making copies without the owner's permission. However, this is only a civil wrong. That means you can sue. And you know, suing today, you go to lawyers and do it. It's very, very difficult. But then it's a damage. You can claim damages if some of your personal things are copied, some of your personal things are seen without your knowledge. The most important thing today is that the cyber crime, which Justice Kotiswar Singh has told us extensively about the cyber crimes. Now, what are the nature of those crimes? One, if you tamper with the password, which is very, very important, it's a criminal offense. And as I said, that it depends on us how to take protection. Just like when you build a house, you make doors, you make windows, you make digital things. So the computer today is your basically source of knowledge, your personal informations. You store them, you have a password. Have a password which alphanumeric, of course, it's not a matter of legal thing, but have alphanumeric, special, keep on changing it. That saves you. As Professor Sanjay Pratap Singh has said, his email was almost similarly thing. I have got emails from my friends saying that I'm stuck in London. Please help me some money. I thought that, oh, he's there. I was almost to do it. Then I called him. He said that I am here. It's having a coffee in a nearby place. What is this? So be careful without believing it. Just don't see, because earlier you used to say you have to believe to see it. Now seeing is also can't be believed. Seeing, you see so many things, you tend to believe it. Don't do it. You have to be very, very careful when you see and pass it on, especially when your photos can be morphed. The technology is so vast, it can be used and it can be misused. Technology is very vast. Your photos are impersonated, your photos are morphing, your IDs are morphing. It's something very similar. So be very, very careful. Now, Justice Kotiswar Singh told us about Shreya Singh's matter. That was a case where Section 66A was struck down. Now, Section 66A make an offense any information which you know to be false, but which annoys anyone or which inconveniences anyone, itself makes an offense. It may be annoying. I can say something about the government. I can say something about I'm not liking a particular policy. I'm saying something against the police. I can say something about some judgment of the Supreme Court. It may be annoying, but it will not be an offense of its own. Of course, I can't put motives. Suppose I criticize a judgment. No, this judgment is not correct. It may be annoying to a particular person. It may be annoying to, I raise a particular issue, social issue. It may be annoying to the person in power. So sedition charges are leveled throughout length and breadth of the country. Section 66A made just an information published or sent, which has created annoyance to the people or any other person. He can file an FIR and it's an offense. So Supreme Court said that it is violative of Article 19(1)(a), that is freedom of speech. Now, what is freedom of speech? The three categories which have been cited by the Supreme Court is a component of freedom of speech. They are, one is discussion, another is advocacy, and the third is incitement. Now, of course, you must have discussion. You can advocate your views, but you cannot incite, and you cannot incite a violence. That is what is prohibited. But Section 66A took within its ambit everything, even a discussion, even an advocacy of a view which annoys anyone is become an offense. So Supreme Court has said 66A, quote unquote, has a chilling effect on the free speech. And once it is chilling effect on a free speech, freedom of speech is very, very important in our society. We have free to speak any, and our freedom is restricted only when it affects another person's freedom. So there where the silver lining is there. By exercising your freedom, you cannot curtail another's freedom. As has been said that dignity, privacy are very, very important and personal. Unless you protect them, everything goes. If I don't protect your dignity, I don't protect your privacy, everything goes. And the moment you start saying that someone else's privacy affects someone else's privacy, your freedom of speech has to be curtailed. And freedom of speech does not mean only speaking. It includes expression. It includes exhibiting photographs. It includes making caricatures. So if you start annoying something by publishing a small caricature, that becomes an offense earlier. Now it cannot be, because there is no otherwise criminal activity, or there is no other law which you are violating. So it was struck down by the Supreme Court in that matter, because any information which penetrates or spreads it, but there are always fundamental restrictions on reasonable restriction, which are something like sovereign, what is called integrity of India, sovereignty of India, or a public order. In small law and order, individually affecting it not, it's a public order which is important. Now, the most abuse is, as Justice Singh has said, that is the pornography or obscene material which is there, and which we all, especially younger generation, are tempted to share, maybe for fun. They don't realize it. For example, recently you must have heard that there was a boys' locker room, which was a group of young students. They created an Instagram group, then tried to transmit sexually oriented photographs of their school children, and so, morphing some of the school girls, young girls, and planned to exploit them. Police came to know it and caught hold of them. So don't be tempted by these type of things, that all that we will be hiding. See, you may be very smart, but then police will be much smarter. Some police officials have said that in some states, sometimes when there is a unrest, they close this internet access. The police official said the internet is the only source by which we can catch the criminals or the undesirable elements or antisocial elements, because otherwise they will be hiding, they will be doing it. But through internet, if you have a proper mechanism, proper scientific tool, you can catch them. You can catch the data which are being transferred. So it has both plus and minus. So it depends on technology, how smart you are, how smart the other part is. It all depends on that. Again, another instance which I must say is to make a difference between obscenity, nudity, or an art. Recently, again, there is another case which is going on, which is regarding a Kerala activist, Rehana Fatima. She has been doing something in Sabrimala. Recently, she circulated a video in which on her body, her son, 14-year-old son, and an 8-year-old girl was painting on her body. Some paints are being, and the justification which she gave is very, very interesting. She said, if a young boy or a girl sees a body of her mother or her sister, she will never abuse a girl. She will never abuse a female. So that is the idea she had. But then there was an uproar in Kerala. Then an FIR filed. She applied for anticipatory bail. The anticipatory bail has been rejected by the Kerala High Court. Matter is pending in the Supreme Court. It can be any day, and maybe next week. So say these are all different thoughts which are there, which are in the society. So different thoughts must be coherent. Again, for example, the Bombay Dance Bar was closed, saying that it's a obscene things which are there. Again, the Supreme Court said it depends. The adults are going, so it depends as to how it is to be used, and they opened it. Another thing is the government has a lot of power under the Information Technology Act. For example, under Section 69, the Information Technology Act gives power to the central government and the state government to intercept, to monitor, to decrypt computer source, your mobile phones. Normally, they are very secure, end-to-end encrypted, but the government has the power to monitor or intercept, but they don't have the power unlimited. They can do it only if, again, which are the reasonable restrictions under Article 19(2), namely sovereignty and integrity of India, defense of India, security of the state, friendly relations with the neighboring states or foreign states, or public order. On those grounds, a senior officer must record reasons that, yes, I want to intercept the phone or the computer source of a particular person, and I have a material and I have justification that he's indulging in antisocial elements or is affecting the public order. Only in that event it can be intercepted or monitored, not otherwise. So don't be afraid. Your phone, the government agency cannot do it. And if you come to know, go to the court, and court will ask them to justify it. Unless you are involved with some terrorist activities, unless you are involved in some drug handling activities which affects the law and the social order of the country. And then another important thing which is now coming is the liability of the intermediaries. Now, intermediaries are the platforms where we disseminate the information. There are Twitter which post the tweets. There are other platforms where you can you can offer to sell something, and there was a case of Baji.com. It only facilitates the sale and purchase. So one of the persons posted a video for sale, saying that the video includes a very young girls indulging in obscene materials, so people are ready to purchase. And he posted it on Baji.com, saying that this is available. Case was filed against Baji.com. Baji.com says, I am not doing anything. I'm only facilitating a purchase and sale of a product. But then the ultimately court said, no, you have to be prosecuted. Today, we do not know what is there. It was in the reference of a bail. So court says, no, you are also facilitating. And the only liability of the intermediaries today is, which we are discussing at a very high level, is with regard to their what is to be done at once they know that it is illegal. It is their duty to exercise due diligence. Now, what is due diligence? Is again, whenever you take a business, you cannot say, no, I do not know, I didn't know. You exercise a due diligence. If the moment you come to know there's an illegal activity, the moment you come to know that it is objectionable, the moment you get an order from the authorities, you need to remove it. That is the liability of the intermediaries, which is presently today. Recently, we know in the legal world, there was a tweet by Mr. Prashant Bhushan of a photograph of the Chief Justice of India on an expensive bike, Harley Davidson. And he said that, of which belonged to a politician. And he said that he makes a tweet that it is, the Chief Justice of India is riding on an expensive bike. He's not wearing mask, not maintaining social distancing. And the judiciary and the cases are at stake. Supreme Court has taken suo moto cognizance. The matter is pending regarding the contempt. But so far as intermediary is concerned, Twitter said that we do not have anything. So they removed the tweet. So that is the liability. Whether more than that, there should be liability or not, that is to be seen, which we do not know today. So that again is a debate where to what extent the intermediaries may be made liable. Because most of the countries in the Europe also, intermediaries liability is limited. That moment you come to know it's illegal, moment you get an order either from the court or a government authority that you remove it, you remove them. And that is the liability. And otherwise, the hundreds and millions and billions of posts are made every minute. As we are talking, the posts are being made. So it is impossible for an intermediary to know and scan all of them. But then once they know by some means with their due diligence team, they are supposed to remove it because it affects others' privacy, it affects others' rights. Now, another thing which we are seeing is online is a gaming. Lot of games, lot of addicted games. Problem is you can play good games, you can play chess, you can play various other things online. But to make it addictive, especially you tend the children to go in addiction. We have seen that the games like Blue Whale was there, by which the children were targeted, they were found. It is not online available. They will find out as to who is a vulnerable child. Then they will put him that, they will ask him to do some impossible task, and which will lead them to suicidal tendencies, which was taken up by my colleague Sneha Kalita in the Supreme Court. A PIL was filed, and then Supreme Court gave guidelines as to what the government must take action. So there are games like this. Don't play these games. It may be interesting in the beginning, but then don't be addictive. As Justice Kotiswar says, that is the expression we should use, because by making addiction, you not only get addiction is not only for a liquor or anything. Nowadays, the addiction is, as we are sitting, I found that when we meet, many people are going for a lunch or a dinner and they are on their phone. This is the addiction. This is not what we are supposed to do. This is not what the online platform is supposed to be required to be done. So my do's are for you, as Christy has said, that I have to say some do's and don't do. Use it for enriching your knowledge. It's vast knowledge. It's ocean. The more you drive, the more you get the pearl. So drive into it. And today, as I said, that when we make research, it's so easy. Earlier, you used to get books everywhere. Today, also, I have books. I'm trying to dispose of as many books as possible because I need just this laptop and I do all my work sitting here on this one small screen. That's all. I have hundreds and thousands of books. I need nowadays doesn't require that. So use that with technology. Many of you, most of the students may not be going to the physical libraries nowadays. Earlier, physical library and the books are all old editions which are there. So that is do what you must do. Reach out your friends and relatives through this. It's really a phenomenal. I have friends globally. Some of us studied together in the Gauhati University. I am read in the Gauhati University. So I say that anything connected to Assam is very, very close to me. And they are at different parts of the world. So we get connected to them. We have relatives throw over, have a Zoom meeting on a weekly or a fortnightly basis with your family members, fix a time, and at that time, don't do anything else. Have online classes in a pandemic situation where there's a lockout. We don't have classes. The schools are closed. Everything else is closed. Open. Now, schools are still closed till the 31st of August. But then fortunately, you have these online platforms. Do use it for attending classes. Do use it for attending the webinars. I could have the privilege of interacting with you all people because of this. And most importantly, do use it to let your voice heard on important social issues. Don't shy away. You have all so much of capacities, so much of knowledge within you. And there are persons who are voiceless. Those don't have any speech. As I see, yesterday, I was seeing the television. I find myself to be very, very upset. The whole day, what was discussed is Sushant Singh who committed, what is the impact, as if the media knows everything, whether his girlfriend was the culprit, whether his friends, whether he committed suicide, it was a murder. So whole day, nothing else. We have in Assam so much of flirt. Nothing is discussed. I really became very upset. And we are in a really bad situation, pandemic situation, the migrant labor situation. Nobody is talking about that. So voice your, please reach out to people on important social issues. Raise these issues through this platform. And the most important no is don't violate the privacy of another person. It's very, very important. Think of yourself. When you do harm to anyone, first think of yourself. If this was to be done to you, your family members, your friend, what would have happened? It's really bad. Apart from being illegal, as I said, that merely making something illegal does not take care of it unless the society itself becomes conscious. The social consciousness is much more powerful than a legal consciousness or a legal provision or a penal provision. As I said, that there are provisions and provisions, especially after the Nirbhaya and the female against offenses against female, the rape, etc. There are very, 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 very harsh provisions have been made. But then we see everything. There are offenses being committed. So don't violate the privacy. As Justice Soto Singh is, the right to privacy is the dignity. 9 judges of the Constitution Bench said it is a right to your life and liberty. It is one of the most important right, which we have never asserted, perhaps we have never thought, because we never thought that our privacy can be violated. Now, this matter, the privacy can be violated by any manner. So, and please respect others' privacy as you want to be respected your own privacy. So this is a very important thing. You think, please don't hatred, please don't spread rumors through this, and don't give unsolicited advice. And this pandemic situation, we get advices since morning to evening. that this is the advice, you do this, don't do this, without any scientific basis. The scientists all over the world are trying to find out a solution for this pandemic, a vaccine, etc. And we get every day, take this, it will remain, we'll get some bottles, something about, all right, but don't give this unsolicited advice, don't give hatred, don't disturb the communal harmony, do it. And don't forward the messages without just unmindfully. You get messages, you forwarded messages, think something, apply your mind. Yes, you must forward messages which are of social importance, which are of interest to your friend, but just not, I know people that first thing they do in the morning is to forward 5-10 messages, then they become comfortable. Just like in the morning, you have a glass of water, they first forward 10 messages, then you become comfortable. This is the addiction. My dear friends, if you become addicted to anything, addicted to reading is also bad, addicted to watching TV is also bad, addicted to drugs, of course, is bad. Similarly, addiction to an online platform, you lose friends by your addiction. As I said, when we go to meet someone, meet friends, sitting in the drawing room, you find 5%, out of 5%, 3 persons on a mobile. I feel very irritated. I say, I have not come to that you are seeing your mobile. We have come to meet friends. Don't isolate yourself in the human interaction. This is not a substitute for human interaction. This is not a substitute for a physical hearing. This is an opportunity to extend the physical hearing where you're not able to meet physically. Go for virtual hearing. Go for, I have to do an important matter in the court next week onwards. Maybe go on for a week. I'm very, very uncomfortable. The virtual hearing, we don't get effect. We don't know how the judges are reacting, how the judges are thinking themselves. Some people, sometimes the line goes off. One of the judges' connection goes off. One of my colleagues' connection goes off. We are depending on that. So this is very important for a virtual world in the sense, in addition to your physical interaction, in addition to human interaction. But human interaction, the physical touch, the physical sense of belonging will not be there unless you meet physically. So virtual world is a very enormous strength and power. And but don't make it a substitute for human interaction. And I'm extremely thankful. I have talked less of law, perhaps more of my personal interest in this field. Law we had known from Justice Kotiswar Singh. Once we have a judgment, we know from that judgment whatever submissions we make. So I'm extremely thankful to the Royal Global University Assam for giving me opportunity to participating in. And I love students. I am a student all through my career in Assam only. So I like to be physically there in your college and institute and spend some time with the students. Not only go and give a lecture for an hour show. Make some space for me to stay in a hostel, spend time with the students, and I remember my old days also. Thank you very much, all of you, for listening me. Thank you.
Thank
Sir,
you. Welcome.
thank you, sir. Our pleasure, sir. Indeed, it was such a friendly interaction and deliberation from your end, and I'm very, very sure that the participants were really happy to hear you. And also our students would have got the right remarks about using the online platform. Your suggestion, as in laws alone cannot stop a crime. The awareness in the society is important as well. It's very, very important. That is the reason why we are organizing this webinar today, so that the people get aware and know how to use it responsibly. Well, thank you, sir. Next, we have with us Ms. Sneha Kalita, advocate on record of Supreme Court of India, born in Gauhati, Assam, and studied in Bangalore University of Law, Gauhati. Ms. Kalita has 15 years of practice in Supreme Court. She is standing counsel of Gauhati and Manipur High Court and State of Meghalaya before Supreme Court of India, and also panel advocate of Supreme Court Middle Income Group Legal Aid Society. She is the founder trustee of Citizens Rights Trust and its Secretary General, rendering free legal aid and legal assistance to all citizens, especially the poor, marginalized, women, children, nurses, citizens, and the weaker sections of the society. Apart from her legal profession, she has done a lot of paralegal work regarding children and women-related issues. She filed PIL banning and blocking dangerous online games for children before Supreme Court. She has represented on behalf of Supreme Court Women Lawyers Association before Constitution Bench in NJAC matter and suggested for adequate representation of meritorious women in the higher judiciary. She has authored 2 chapters on Working Manual on Juvenile Justice Act in collaboration with UNICEF and have authored many publications. She presented her concept paper on restructuring the law course in India, organized by Confederation of Indian Bar chaired by Justice Gopal Goda, Judge, Supreme Court of India, 2015. She has received an Award of Plaque of Excellence on International Women's Day by Adhivakta Parishad, New Delhi, in presence of Justice G. Rohini, Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, 2015. She is a member of Internal Complaints Committee under Sexual Harassment, Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013 of Association for Social Health in India. Her article on juvenile justice system was published in Souvenir in All India Seminar on Access to Justice for Socially and Economic Disadvantage, attended by 6 sitting Supreme Court judges in the year 2011. She has participated as trainer in GST training workshops headed by Honorable Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, Judge, Supreme Court of India at Vigyan Bhavan, Delhi. Also undertaken GST training workshops in Delhi, Assam and Manipur High Court since March 2017. Her expertise is in civil, criminal and constitutional matters. Ma'am will be sharing her insights on some of cybercrime and complaint mechanisms system with some safety tips for the users. Ma'am, the screen and the mic are yours.
Thank you, Christy. A very good morning to
Ma'am,
all
you
of you.
Okay.
Yeah, am
You're
I
audible.
audible?
You are.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes. A very good afternoon. I mean, it's afternoon only now. To all of you, Honorable Justice Kotiswar Singh ji, Judge Gauhati High Court, Shri Vijay Hansaria ji, a Senior Advocate of Supreme Court, Professor Dr. Sanjay Pratap Singh ji, Vice Chancellor Assam Royal Global University, Professor A.K. Buragohai, Chairperson Academic, Professor Pradeep Jyoti Mahanta, Dean of the University, and Ms. Christy Sekia, Assistant Professor, and esteemed professors, academicians, dear students, and all the distinguished participants. Today, I am honored to be a part of the virtual e-learning speaker series conducted by one of the most prestigious college in the entire Northeast, Royal Global University, Gauhati, Assam. After hearing both our learned speakers and our senior-most speakers who have elaborately have apprised and explained the various legal provisions of Information Technology Act 2000 and do's and don'ts explained by them when you use the online platform, I have nothing much to say about it. Since they have already covered all the entire legal aspects of the act, but I would like to highlight and add three legal perspective, or I would say legal components of this IT Act. Firstly, the basic objective of the Act is to provide and give legal recognition of those transactions which has been carried out by electronic data and other means of e-platform to promote e-governance. Because earlier we did not have any there was no sensitive or legal recognition been given to the whatever the transaction or mails we do online. So the IT Act has given this legal recognition, which has promoted our e-commerce, and we have our GDA been raised because of this, online e-commerce activities in India. And on the other hand, it regulated the online activities and businesses done through communication device, a computer software device, or computer network. And I would like to add here that the IT Act, there's a very unique feature when you read the section 12 and read with section 75 of the IT Act, that this act is also applicable even offense committed outside the India, that outside the territorial jurisdiction of India. But the constituting offense must involve the computers or computerized system or network located in India, and then irrespective of his or her nationality, the person is punishable under this act. Secondly, I would like to say about the offenses part. The IT Act has described the offenses very elaborately, and mainly it has been divided into certain categories of offenses like unauthorized access and hacking, breaching a protected system, that is cybersecurity system, and online obscenity and threat and harassment, which includes a sexual harassment also. And also misrepresentation, or you can say suppression of some facts to forge or to get the digital signature, which is a very ongoing activity in online abuse now. With that, there is also called what we call uh, online obscenity. So these are the offense being categorized, and different section has defined the offenses, and also IPC, and also under the Act, also they have given punishment. What kind of punishment, with imprisonment or with fine, it has been elaborated there. And thirdly, I would say that under the Act has given competent authority, competent power. Like we have a controller who certify the digital signature. We have cyber cell which regulate, and which I mean cyber cell under the police officers, which see if there's any abuse, if there's any online trafficking. Online trafficking is one of the very much important issue and rising issue today's in the cyber world. And we have also a cyber appellate tribunal who deals with the matter relating to the cyber crimes. So these are the basic component which comprises in the IT Act. And also, I just wanted to say that after coming into this IT Act, our two basic legislation has gone for amendments or change. There's a lot of change. Like we have Indian Penal Code 1860, which has include offenses like voyeurism, which is section 354C. It prohibits any person watching or capturing a woman in private act. And also and the punishment is 7 years, if I'm not mistaken, up to 7 years, and with fine. So this is a change which has been made. And also the very now the this crime is very much at rise. It's called a cyber stalking. You follow a woman in online platform despite showing resistance from her. And this punishment, which has been said in the IPC, is 354C. Sorry, my mic fell off. 354D. So, and the punishment is 3 years with fine. And so these are the changes in other legislation. And also our Indian Evidence Act also has gone for a change. Now the document which we submit in the court for before the trial, now a person can also use electronic evidence, which is also an admissible document under the Indian Evidence Act, which is 65B certificate. You have to give a 65B certificate in it. So this is a basic, legislation which been changed after the IT Act has come into picture. Now, I wanted to give certain statistics which shows the trend of cybercrime activities really increasing in India. As Justice Kotiswar sir has stated about National Crime Bureau report, I would like to say one statistics which has been published in the Hindu newspaper, that 8 out of 10 people in India have experienced some sort of online harassment, and 41 of the women having experienced sexual harassment in cyberspace. And as per when we talk of global scenario, as per the report of FBI, India has been rated third among top 20 countries in cybercrime victims, which was published in the New Indian Express in the month of February this year. So, looking at this figure, I think we could say that cybercrime is increasing globally and in India as well at an alarming rate, which is a cause of concern. And I must share with you that, I had also experienced, I'm also had not victim, but I also experienced this cyber crime. I wanted to share with you that yesterday I get a call from my bank relationship manager that, Madam, are you attempting to swipe your card, your debit card? And I said, no, I was in the virtual code, so I was not doing anything that particular time. No, somebody was using your somebody was making attempt to use your debit card. So then immediately I was so petrified, then immediately I told him to block my card. And it's very strange. And now people do online. You do online shopping for your groceries, you do online for your electricity bill. There's so many now online activities in this pandemic situation. But I don't know how they have leaked my information, and I was using all genuine sites, but I was one of their targeted, maybe targeted victim. So you have to be very careful when you use the debit card, especially, if you could see, these are the numbers. You must pay securely. That's what been told by the relationship manager officer. And also, then I would discuss it in my later submissions and my slides, that you have a portal, as Justice Kotiswar sir had said, that you have a portal, Cybercrime Patrol, where your complaint get registered. So immediately yesterday only, I have complained my what you call my phishing attack. So you have to be very very much be responsibly. You have to act responsibly. You have to be very mindful when you use your online activities. Now, Shrishti, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm there.
yeah. So I just now I
Sharing the content.
wanted to share, some slides with you.
I'm on 1 second.
Yeah,
Can you see the screen?
yeah. Shrishti?
Can you see this? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, now I would like to speak on some of the very important and very much. There are many cyber crimes happening in India as well as globally, and the cybercrime is happening not only in India but globally. And we see the trend of using the increase of internet technology, and we witness the radical change of the nature of the crimes. Now it has become more sophisticated. The perpetrators are very smart now. They use all sophisticated, software tools to hijack, to hack your computer software. So one must know basic cybercrime, which can be, which is very important for our everyday use. So first is, yeah, of course, obscene material and pornography and sexual harassment. So this kind of cyber abuse, we cannot judge obscenity in isolation, or we have to test the obscenity. So there are judicial pronouncement in many cases, and under IT Act says that viewing privately obscene material is of no offense. But the moment the place become public place, that is the crime is that is the crime. That is the offense you have created. And one if one transmit the sexual explicit material, or punish in the or publish it in the social media or online platforms, that is the illegal offense. So this is one of the most concern crime abuse right now, which are of more of a threat in nature. So if you could see the screen, first slide, I have divided into two categories: threat in nature and fraud in nature. So first I would speak on threat in nature. Stalking, our next crime. Stalking, yes, of course. stalking is something which, I mean, you can't help it. But yes, of course, when you are careful, when you are aware of the laws, then then naturally and with all this awareness, you can stop being stalked. You know, so trolling and doxing is also one of the cyber abuse, but unfortunately, we don't have the offense of trolling and doxing under the IP Act, but we do have in 499 IPC where it protects the victims against sexual harassment or harassment through remarks on social media or by posting obscene pornographic content. So this kind of when IT Act doesn't take care of, then there are legislation like Indian Penal Code, CRPC, which takes care of it. But we need to know what are the cyber abuse. Then when you see when if someone suppose nowadays I could see in the Facebook someone uses so much of abusive languages against you online, or photoshops your image into content which is abusive or sexually colored remarks been given. So these are the cyber abuse and it's in the stalking. These are the things which are happening. So it is punishable. Law is there and it is punishable. So under the law, and it is punished, and the punishment is very vigorous. It's a seven, section 676 IT Act says it is punishment up to 7 years, and the fine is 10 lakhs. So you have to you have to be aware of this kind of cyber abuse. Cyberbullying, yes, cyberbullying is defined as harassment in social media, in chat rooms, online gamings, uh, what else? Gaming platforms, especially the PUBG. Nowadays, I could say the children is on and on with the PUBG. They're so much addicted to it, but the PUBG, in the PUBG games, you can also speak. So I have. I was reading to some newspaper and they said that the children use abusive languages. They are bullied. So the parents are should be very much responsible. They should not give indulgence to the children to play this kind of game. So this is a very concern, and this is an area of concern. And I must say that there's a statistics which says that 9.2% of 630 adolescents surveyed in Delhi national capital region is victim of this cyberbullying. So it's a quite alarming rate. Now, defamation, hate speech. Honorable Supreme Court, as Justice Kotiswar Singh ji had said, that 60A Act of IT Act has been quashed, because of the offensive word cannot be booked under IT Act. But we have under IPC section 499 primarily governs the law on defamation and extend to electronic documents, which is extend to electronic documents. So so defamation, hate speech, though it is a very debatable issue, but defamation being taken care of IPC. So even your hate speech or your abusive language may not come under the IT Act, but it would definitely would come under 499 of IPC. Now, cyber blackmailing. It's also one of the very now people blackmail through online nowadays because of the pandemic. People started blackmailing many what you call lot of threats been received by the businessmen in Delhi through online, and they blackmail the businessman with unknown identity. So we have to be very much, and when you see all this activities going on, you immediately should report to the police, and you should know that I am the victim and I should be able to report to the police. That much of courage you should build up. And then, of course, we have cyber terrorism. Now, cyber terrorism is one of the global threats you can see in this online, in this modernized cyber crime. Uh, it has a very thin line of differentiation between cyber terrorism and cyber threat. But when it is defined that when there is a threat in social media or threat of committing such attacks against against the computers in order to compel the government or its people to pursue a social or political objective, then it is a cyber terrorism. So one must be very vigilant. If you see some kind of cyber terrorism or cyber threats been cyber terrorism threats been given online, you immediately should report to the police so that you also become responsible to the country, right? So now these are the threat, more of a threat in nature, which I've explained. And now I would go the fraud part. Now, phishing is one of something which is now in this pandemic situation, it's just going viral. Like, phishing, I would give you the phishing definition, the contents, what is all about in my next slide. Firstly, let me just quickly go into this 9 and 10 and 11. 9 is we talk about, this is a again online scam frauds, online matrimonial frauds, online job. We have online job offer scam, online lottery winner, online big discount on shopping sale, online financial frauds. We have the fraudsters can fool you in any kind of the situations which I have given in the slide. And you have to be very very wary with this, because there are so much of online fraud going on regarding the matrimonial. People end up, the girls, especially the girls, end up in big trouble. So you have to be very careful in choosing the online matrimonial site. And of course, the job offer, they would lure you with big amount. You would be getting this much of salary, but you have to give this amount as a token, as a deposit, something like that. They would make you feel like as if you have got something very bonanza. So you have to be very much wary about your, when you do this kind, when you see this kind of emails, when you get this kind of SMSs, do not, never get indulge yourself in this kind of scam. Now, talking of hacking, we all know. I mean, all these crimes, no, all these cyber crimes are related to one another. Like there is a threat perception, there is a hacking, of course. When the things get hacked, only there's a threat perception, and then there is a psychological threat. There's a physically also, you get so drained. Yesterday only I got so drained when I heard that my debit card of somebody was using my wanted to use my debit card. So you have to be very very much alert. And then one more important crime nowadays is happening is that identity theft. Now this theft pertains to illegally obtaining of someone's personal information. So this is one of the very, very, very technological, our, I mean, it's mainly been done in the banks, in the banks related companies. So, you have to be very, very very much alert when you give your personal information. Never share the personal information with anyone. And even if you have to download certain information, then always speak to your RM, speak to your relationship manager bank. He would guide you. But you never go online and give some information because they are asking you. So, this is kind of alert you should keep it in your mind. Now, Krishti, can I have the next slide, please? Hello. Hello, Krishti.
Yes, I'm there. Can you see the screen? I have changed the slide.
Yeah. 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 Now I can. Yeah. This is what is called the phishing attack screen, Srishti, because I'm not able to see.
1 second, maybe it moved ahead.
Yeah. Yes. This is a little technical glitch.
I'll change the slide. I'll go ahead.
Yeah. Next, third slide. Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the one.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So, phishing attack. So this is very important to know that cyber crime can be of in many ways, and phishing is something that phishing. How to explain you? Phishing is the, as you could see in the screen, that phishing is the fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information, data such as username, password, credit card details, that by disguising oneself as a trustworthy entity in the electronic communication. Like we have a fake site, just similar to the original site. It is basically targeted with financial service companies, email, online service provider. One must be very aware, when you get some online or emails, especially when you get emails, you always check the origin, whether it has been sent actually by your bank, or you are dealing with the money transaction. Always check, always verify. Don't just normally click in, or always verify their what you call the salutations, so that you may not get into the trap. And this is one of the very important kind of crime. Now we have, yeah, now there are three types of phishing, you can say. Deceptive phishing, wishing, and smishing. Deceptive phishing, deceptive email from recognized sender steals information by imitating a legitimate provider. So as you can see, that as I've already told you, that they steals information from a legitimate organization or entity, and then they would portray that as if the email has been come from that particular organization. So they deceive. And how you see this, that this mail is actually genuine or not, that users should inspect URLs. This is very important now. Nowadays, it is very important that URLs to be very carefully be scrutinized. And I would tell you one kind of, to see whether a URL is fake or it is genuine, is that whenever it starts from HTTP, that is the authenticated link, or you can say the URL. So you would never get cheat. Or if you really wanted to double check your verification, then you can go to Google Save URL link, or safe browsing. You have an option of safe browsing also. You can go to that site and you would get whether this is a genuine URL or not. And of course, the use of generic salutation and spelling errors. A lot of this, perpetrators make a lot of spelling mistakes. So you would be able to also see or make out whether it's a genuine or not. Second is that wishing. So this is a contact targets by telephone. One day, I must share with you. One day at 5 o'clock, I gets a random call from unknown number that madam, आपका तो कार्ड आपका कार्ड तो आपने कल तो मिसप्लेस कर दिया था, तो आप प्लीज अपना पर्सनल इंफॉर्मेशन, they were asking something, and मैडम आप दे दीजिए, हम लोग अभी तुरंत आपको ओटीपी दे के आपको न्यू कार्ड आपके घर में ही आ जाएंगे. So I was just wondering, 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm a late, riser. So 5 o'clock for me, I was in the dream. So then I was, for a moment, I was like, I thought, okay, let me just give the information. Then I realized that, yesterday I did not go anywhere. So, I didn't go anywhere. So where I would just, then I thought there's something is fishy. So I immediately asked, "Is there which bank you are calling from?" Then they were fumbled, and then immediately I realized that it's a fake call, and then they hung up the phone. And immediately what I did is that I have called 911 and I reported that uh, uh, number, though it was an unknown number, but I have verified again through the IP address, and that number I have given to the police. So now this kind of responsibility you have to also take up when you actually fall into the trap, so that, and fall into the in the hands of perpetrators. Now this is called wishing. And now wishing, yes, of course, the contact targets by SMS or text SMSs, like that mimics SMS of known entities, of still sensitive data. And also here to check is that, again, from unknown number, if doubt, you please call back your entity, the genuine entity, and re-verify or reconfirm it. Now, so therefore, I would request I would request, and it's a suggestion from my side, because yesterday only I was a victim of this. Though I was so much of I'm a vigilant person, but I got fallen into trap. So you should always download your bank app. I've showed in the slide, like government app, like Bhim app, UPI, so that these are the genuine app where the money transaction can be done. Never go for sites or apps which you don't know, or it's not much circulated. And always use very strong passwords, I would say. Frame the password in such a way that with the numbers, with your with anything, with all those things. So complex, mostly like you use a complex password. And thirdly is never download any link from unknown emails or doubt emails. Never download it, because they carry virus. So immediately you download that mail, your all the information in your computer system would be hacked. So many people fall into the trap. And it's one of the as Justice Kotiswar Singh was saying, and Justice SP Singh also has experienced this this cyber abuse. So they hack the entire system. And of course, and if the problem arise, and if you are victim actually, then always report to the competent authority. So this is one of the phishing attack. I have explained it to you. And online scam frauds, I've already have said. And also please vary with the shopping. I know nowadays we attempt to do online shopping a lot, but
Sneha, ma'am,
yeah.
I'm very, very sorry to interrupt in between,
Yeah.
but can you come to the conclusion
Yeah.
so that we can
Okay,
wrap up?
okay, yes,
So
definitely.
sorry for
No,
interrupting.
yes. Now, I just quickly wanted to tell you that the next slide of mine, Krishti. Now, would you get the next slide?
This is the last slide.
Yeah. How do I file a complaint? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this basically, I would just quickly wrap up. I know I have taken, sorry, Christy, and sorry, the participants. But I just wanted to tell you that as Justice Kotiswar ji and Hansaria have already said that report to the authority. But yes, make an online complaint whenever there's a cyber abuse. You can also do through National Cyber Crime Patrol reporting. There's a portal of ministry, reporting social media website. There's a All Genuine website has this an option. Also report to the police station nearby, and also report to a National State Commission for Women when there is a when you see there is a threat of women and sexual harassment activities in the online. And save your electronic evidence. Don't delete your photos, emails when you be victim of the cybercrime. With this, I would end up my slides, and be safe, be technologically aware of your surroundings. Thank you, Shrishti.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Sneha.
thank you, Shrishti.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry I had to
No, no,
interrupt in between,
it's
but
perfectly
it was
fine.
such
Yeah.
a informative session by you, because it really gave us an idea about how to go about and to understand the technical terms, basically, when we deal with the online platforms. Thank you so much. Well, without much delay, then I would like to head towards the Q&A session. The first question is for Honorable Justice Sir. Sir, may I go ahead?
Yes, yes, please.
So the question for you is, what would you call as the challenges of the Information Technology Act 2000?
See, as I mentioned also, and also highlighted by other speakers, Information Technology Act is essentially for ease of transaction, commercial transaction. It has not really dealt with these technical issues of cyber crime, especially. As far as commercial transactions are concerned, it is very well, whenever any commercial transaction take place, you have the best of the brains also in the legal fraternity there. So there is not so much of a problem. Problem arises when this cyber crime takes place. First of all, investigation. First of all, reporting. See, our legal system, criminal legal system, does not get activated unless a complaint is filed. That's the prerequisite of the setting into motion the legal system, criminal legal system. So unless you file a complaint, and how to file a complaint, you must have the basic information also laid down, because unlike other normal crimes which I mentioned, cyber crimes require specific informations, the timing, what methodology, number, all this credit card number, whatever. All these details are required to be given, because it doesn't leave too much of any evidence on say, to discoverable evidence, unlike the normal crime. Therefore, very important that how it is to be reported. So the whole this regime, the criminal which is covered by CRPC, does not adequately deal with these cyber crimes. So this is a big challenge, which is perhaps I don't know, the bill is under consideration. What kind of data protection regime will be having? Unless it is finalized, we can't comment. So these are areas I feel that shortcomings in the IT Act to adequately deal. Of course, offences have been mentioned. Of course, 66A has been set aside, but on the ground, what? That it is too vast, it's too generalized. It doesn't mean that it is not required. It's required. 66A in a different moderated form. It is required to as to avoid this kind of harsh, very being language being used. It's sometimes I feel very, very awkward to read the comments, even live law and all this bar and bench kind of comments. I mean, this is uncalled for, especially coming from a legal fraternity also. I can understand if somebody is making a comment, I can understand, but a person who is well endowed with the knowledge of law has to make such comments. These are all, therefore, what I feel is that there are areas, is a very big gray area of in cyber law, which needs to be identified, of course, with experts. Therefore, this constant engagement, discussion, this kind of webinars or seminars, I think is required with the help of those and those who have intricate knowledge. Because one thing is that cyber knowledge, cyber crime cannot be solved merely by knowledge of law, the legal knowledge. But how how the computer works also is important to understand. Many people think, oh, I have passed on some message, I have deleted it. Oh, so I am free. No. Every illegal thing we do in cyber world has an imprint which can be discovered. So this awareness needs to be sent. You can't escape your liability. Don't think that I have deleted this message, this image, so I'm free. It gets stored. Not here in India, but mostly in either countries, it gets stored in cloud. If you done with Google or some other software, it gets stored in their computer. There. So what I'm trying to say is that these are big challenges before us, especially the cyber crimes, how offenses are committed. So that regime, the CRPC of cyber law, what I would like to say, a CRPC of cyber law has to be evolved to adequately deal with the kind of situation we are in. So these are big challenges. I'm sure in course of time, we have a lot of pool of talents, wonderful. I mean, as you know, in Silicon Valley, full of Indians. So they can, I'm sure, with the kind of, we have resources we have, I'm sure it's a matter of days that we can evolve a very secure cyber world where anybody can express. Just Hansaria ji also mentioned, beautiful. I mean, we don't realize the potency of this. So many things we can do. Only hear all these words of hatred, the words of all this. We can share, love, compassion, soothing messages and contribute, I mean, socially. You have a power to do that. Merely sitting in your home, you can do so many things. So these are big potentiality of this cyber world, which we have not tapped, only we are doing on the darker side. Therefore, how to prevent it? These are, of course, in the realm of experts, of course, legal as well as technical experts have to come together to find a good environment to work. So I think this is a big challenge before us as far as IT 2000 is concerned.
Thank you, sir. Sir, indeed, you have highlighted the most important points regarding the challenges because it is indeed a very, very, very huge field. Thank you, Honorable Sir. I will go ahead with the question with Vijay Hansaria, sir.
Yes.
Sir, Vijay Hansaria, sir. The question for you is, would you please throw some light on the parents' responsibility to curb the rigorous use of online platforms by the children? The threats of exposure to pornography, online gaming are escalating, with online platform being excessively accessible to the students.
See, again, as I said, it's a social responsibility which is to take event. Children today are not, you cannot violate their privacy. Still, you have to guide them. Don't say that you must see that, you must tell the consequences of it. As Justice Kotiswar Singh has said that everything you do has an imprint on the computer, online, everything you do which remains. You must tell them if you do something wrong, you are liable to be caught. And that's a threat which is there. And you must always also share that if it is done to you or to your person, to your friend, to your family member, what will happen? So again, as I said, gaming, as I said, that child pornography, etc., they have lure you, but then it creates a problem for you in the future time. So anybody who commits crime always think, I'm safe, I will not be caught, I will never be caught. But then the vigilant police people, the technology people are there, the good technology people are there, we will caught you. So that environment is to be created that you use it for a positive purpose, don't use it for a negative purpose. And if you use it for a negative purpose, not only you, the entire family, entire friends, entire your neighborhood be in a difficulty. So that society has to build it up, and the best place for society is educational hub, where you are there. You have to tell people, you have to tell the students, and students are the future for tomorrow. We have spent our lives, and they have to understand, and you have to understand that this is going to for example, there's a question that bad language. I was reading yesterday. Now we all know Amitabh Bachchan, Abhishek Bachchan are in hospital, Aishwarya Bachchan is hospital, her daughter is in hospital. Yesterday somebody tweeted to Abhishek Bachchan, your father is admitted in the hospital, ab baith ke kaise khaoge? It's a very, very bullying, it's a very, very disturbing small message. And just see the reply. The reply of Abhishek Bachchan was, फिलहाल तो लेट के खा रहे हैं, बाप के साथ खा रहे हैं, आप अपनी सोचिए, आपका भला हो, आपका ठीक हो. Have a positive things. Don't be swayed away by bullying. Somebody has pitched up and somebody has sent some messages. Somebody don't go by that threat. Discuss with your friends. Try to come out of it, and that will be my response to this, because we have almost 2 hours spent on it. We'd like to conclude also.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Again, moving ahead to the question to Sneha ma'am. Ma'am, what is, according to you, according to one of the newspaper report, working women complained of sexual harassment. What should one do in such situations, as there were no clear guidelines in terms of working hours for women while working from home?
Okay.
Right, context.
Yeah, I would keep my answer very short and simple. I think you have said two perspectives. One is that regarding sexual harassment, how you deal with the situation. We have an act called a Sexual Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, POSH Act, where we have there every institution, every government institution, school, colleges, any institution should have their internal complaint mechanism. So under that, if a woman or an employee, female employee, if she thinks that she has been sexually harassed, then she can give a complaint to the ICC, and also you have cyber women cell also, you can give complaint, and I have already spoken about the state women commission and national women commission. These are the three broader complaint mechanism or system we have in India. And your second, this is of course through Vishakha guidelines. This sexual harassment committee has been formed. And your second question was related to working hour policy, working from home. So I would say that there is, in India, there is no such policy being framed. But I was reading in somewhere in the newspaper that there is a human rights resource ministry of ours is coming with some policy, work from home policy. And it is not only about the female, but both the employee would come under that policy. And so far as the woman is concerned, of course, we have to see the flexible time, like as we have in our multinational companies have their policy, work from home policy. So that has to be really, eventually we have to really think about, and our government should think about how to frame those guidelines.
Well, thank you so much. Well, sir, ma'am, and honorable sir, with this we come to the end of our session today, and it was indeed so much enlightening. I'm pretty sure the participants have enjoyed the session with the learned panelists with us today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Honorable Justice and Kotiswar Singh, sir. Mr. Vijay Hansaria, sir, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court of India. Ms. Sneha Kalita, Advocate on Record, Supreme Court of India. Thank you so much. I would also extend my heartfelt gratitude to the university, to our VC, sir, of course, who has been here with us throughout the session today. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your support always. And to the IT department who has supported us with the IT, with the platform today. And thank you to the participants who have been with us and been patient in being with us throughout the deliberation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Justice Singh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hansaria, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Singh.
Sneha, thank you. Thank you, Sneha.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.
Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.